Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido Loca. I want to jump into a sensitive topic today. A lot of times on these lists of common misconceptions about cruise ships is that cruise ships are not safe. There is a big concern out there from people about safety on a cruise ship. And a lot of times it gets glossed over, like, some things are gonna happen, don't worry about it. And there's oftentimes not a lot of conversation around the actual crime that happens on a cruise ship. Well, there's been some recent reporting that came out just for Q3, and it really highlights one of the most substantial cruise crimes that happen. So I want to break it down in this video, and I also want to talk a little bit about how to keep yourself safe on a cruise ship. Thanks so much for taking some time to watch this video. If you're into cruising content, I would invite you to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of our uploads. So let's start the conversation by talking about how crime is reported on cruise ships. And this information deals primarily with cruise ships that leave and return to the United States. Ships that are leaving and returning to the United States fall under the Cruise Vessel Safety and Security Act. That is a regulation that is managed by the FBI, and every quarter there is reporting from the FBI about the major crimes that happen on a cruise ship. There are some guidelines for the crimes that are reported. Let me read off to you the categories of crimes that the FBI requires cruise ships to report on. Homicide, suspicious death, missing person, kidnapping, assault with bodily injury, firing or tampering with a vessel, theft greater than $10,000, and sexual assault. These are the big umbrella categories that crimes are reported to the FBI under, and there is a requirement for cruise ships that are sailing out of the United States to report any of these incidents. Now, the latest reporting is out. This covers Q3 of 2019, and there is one crime that was reported significantly more than any other crime on the cruise ship, and that crime was sexual assault. I'm gonna throw up the chart here that shows you the reporting by cruise line. It also shows you whether the assault was by a passenger or by a crew member. I'll leave this up for a second so that you can take a look at the matrix of the cruise line's reporting. And as you notice, the biggest one there is sexual assaults. I'm not sure what it says about the summer of 2019. It's a 35% increase over the previous quarter of 2019 and a 67% increase over all of the sexual assaults reported in Q3 last year. Now, to be certain, millions of cruise passengers cruise every year, hundreds of thousands of passengers every month, and 46 incidents of crime in Q3, statistically speaking, is very minimal. Now, again, these are the crimes that were reported by the cruise line. And it leaves us with the question, are there some things that you can do to be more safe on a cruise ship to mitigate the risk of crime? And certainly, I'm no security expert. I did a little bit of research, but I'm gonna offer a list of things that you can do to minimize your risk on cruise ships. But sometimes there's nothing that you can do to minimize your risk. You can only do the best that you can. And so I'm gonna offer this list, and I would also encourage anybody who has anything to add to this list to jump down into the comments and continue the conversation. Because the whole goal here is to how to have a cruise experience that is uneventful, that is as safe as possible. And again, for most people, that will be the case, but maybe there'll be a nugget of information here that can help people prevent being in a situation where they could be in danger. So number one is one that we advocate a lot. Use the buddy system. If you're traveling with your spouse, obviously, do things together. Don't be isolated on the cruise ship. Have a friend that you can knock around with. Have a shipmate that you can do things with so that you're not isolated on the cruise ship. Closely related to the buddy system is number two, always let somebody know where you are at. Build an expectation. Look, I'm gonna be in the casino. I think I might be at this show. I should be back at the cabin at this time. Give some sort of indicator of where you're gonna be at in case, time passes, somebody can check up on you. If you're off by yourself, at least there's no big gaps of time there where you are unaccounted for and somebody knows where to go looking for you if it seems like you've been gone for too long. Another good rule of thumb on cruise ship is to avoid isolated areas. The cruise ship has a lot of public spaces, but it also has a lot of private spaces. Obviously, there are spaces that are marked for crew only. You don't want to go there, But one way to ensure that you are a little more safe is to be in a place that has a lot of people around it. You're less likely to be victimized in a crowd than you are when you are isolated off unto yourself. Many people that are looking to perpetuate crimes are looking for people that are isolated, people that don't have a way to connect with somebody else. And so avoid isolating yourself. I know everybody likes to get away, likes to have a little alone me time, but you got to do that in a way that's safe, and you need to do that in a way where you will not be victimized. Building on that idea of isolation, you do not want to invite a stranger into your cabin, and you do not want to go to the cabin of a stranger. Individuals that are looking to do you harm many times have the techniques to make you feel comfortable enough to get you into a situation where they can do to you what they want to do. And one of the ways to avoid that is to never have a stranger to your cabin and never to go to a stranger's cabin, because in a moment, things can change from happy-go-lucky to really dangerous situations. Another key thing to do to keep yourself safe on a cruise ship is to have some sort of situational awareness. And simply situational awareness is paying attention to your surroundings. Heads up, those kind of ideas of you know where you are, you know what you're doing, and you have some idea of what the people around you are doing. Are you in a spot where maybe a family is arguing with each other and it looks like it's escalating? Could that be, could you end up in some sort of family brawl? It's happened on a cruise ship. Maybe move away from there. Having situational awareness will give you the time that you need to remove yourself from a situation that could be going south. And so even if it's interaction with people one-on-one, having an awareness of what's going on with you and your surroundings can help prevent crime on a cruise ship. In the last couple, we'll talk a little bit about alcohol. I guess the biggest thing is to know your limit when it comes to alcohol, to know where that point is for you, where you are no longer going to be able to make good decisions for yourself, and try to make sure that you don't go there. I call it the danger zone. I know people find that funny. I did a video about drinking on a cruise ship. I will leave that linked here. But try to stay out of the danger zone. Have a good time, but don't put yourself in a situation where you're making poor decisions. Some of these things, being isolated, being alone with a stranger, not having situational awareness, those things can be impacted by the amount of alcohol you consume and how you respond to that alcohol. And so if you're going to indulge, if you're going to drink on a cruise ship, please do it responsibly and do it in a way to keep yourself safe. And the last thing I'll say about drinking is protect your drinks. Again, don't accept drinks from a stranger. Don't accept drinks that you can't see how they were made. One of those situations where you could possibly be drugged is when somebody gives you a drink and you don't know where it came from. If you haven't paid attention, if you haven't watched your drink, you could get slipped something that would put you in a situation where your personal safety could be compromised. So simple rule of thumb, if you don't know where your drink came from, don't drink it. Like, it's not a very fun topic, obviously, and statistically, the odds of anything happening to you on a cruise ship from a crime perspective are low, but it does happen. And so I just wanted to throw this information out there just to plant the seed in your brain, some of these things, so that you are go into cruising eyes wide open. Hopefully none of these things have ever happened to you. Let's continue the conversation. What do you do to keep yourself safe on the cruise ship? I mentioned that video about drinking on the cruise ship. It's right here. Check that out. Thanks so much for stopping by. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Stay safe.